Hello gang, CF here, keeping Hegfreeze place for today's episode because he's busy with some stuff. Hope you don't mind. I know I suck at this, but whatever, let's roll. Entitled Dad lets his little brat do whatever he wants and wanted us to get punished after his little brat messed with us and started to cry when we put a stop to it. This whole story happened quite a few years ago. I must have been 13 or 14 at the time, so do not expect me to remember every word said perfectly. It is as I can remember it, and some is even paraphrased. It has been well over 20 years since then. I was invited to a friend's birthday party which coincided with a big family gathering. Let me first describe that family a bit. First of all, there was the grandmother. She was a really nice old lady, but in the family her word was law. When there was any tension or fights within the family, they would go to her, and she would solve it. From what I have heard, she was really fair and impartial, which is why everybody listened to her. There was one thing though you never wanna do, lie to her. You see, she was divorced from her husband for a good 20 years now, and he must have been a real jerk who constantly tried to gaslight her and have affairs and whatnot. I did not know that back then, but I found out a couple years later when I had asked my friend why she reacts so badly to lying. All in all, she had 10 kids with her husband. 1 were triplets, 2 sets of twins, and 3 times a single kid. Having had to raise so many kids with a jerk of a husband had given her a resolve of steel. The only reason she had not divorced him much earlier was that this was simply not done back then. It was the early 70s back then. Just a decade earlier, it had still been law in my country that a woman needs permission from her husband to work, and if he decided she no longer was performing the households to his standards, he could go to her boss and have him fire her simply because he says so. By the time of this family gathering, all her kids were married and also with children. And I think there was only 2 couples with less than 5 children. So you can imagine there were a lot of children there, and this many children want to be entertained. Since it was my buddy's birthday, they had organized airsoft guns and prepared the field for us. One of the parents owned a junkyard, so there were old cars, oil drums, and they even had created a few huts to hide in. The field was about 2 football fields in size. It was heaven for a 14-year-old boy. Now if you have ever been hit by an airsoft gun, they can really hurt, so there were a few rules to this. 1. No kids under 12. 2. They have rented masks as well as back and front protections for us. You had to wear them at all times, and if you hit someone in the legs or arms, it did not count, and after 3 hits on arms or legs, you were disqualified for this game. One game could take up to an hour. We mostly played capture the flag, and with his friends and relatives combined, we had easily 15 kids on each team. Of course, absolutely no hits in the face despite the mask protection. That would get you thrown out of the game right away. 3. If you get hit, you had to go back to the spawn point, which was outside the play area, and you had to stay there for 5 minutes. There was a little walkway from the spawn to the play area leading into the first hut. Only once a player was in that hut, he was a legal target. Shoot on them before that and you are disqualified. Shoot on them in the spawn area and you were done for the day, since people often took off their protective gear there, so that could be seriously dangerous. 4. There was always at least 1 grown-up in each spawn area and 2 on the field to make sure everybody played safe and by the rules. 5. You had to be at least 5 meters away from someone to shoot them. If you were closer, you simply shouted bang bang bang, but if you shot closer, you were out right away and the hit did not count. Now, of course, all the kids under 12 were miffed they could not play with us, but of course the grown-ups had anticipated that and had some cool stuff for them as well. The grown-ups had brought a lot of computers and organized a good old LAN party for them kids with kids-friendly games, as well as several Nintendo systems with Mario Brothers and other games. Plus, for later in the afternoon, they had organized a treasure hunt that would take at least 1 to 2 hours. We were just taking a break between games, so our whole team was in the spawn point. The grown-up supervising the spawn point at the time was our entitled dad. Suddenly, his 8-year-old son, from here on out called LS for Little Brat, stormed into the spawn point. Also, me will be me and friend will be CF for cool friend. He really was cool, one of my best friends at the time. I wanna play airsoft with you, I'm a big boy, I don't wanna do that stupid treasure hunt, that is for babies. Sorry buddy, but you cannot play. You see, we do not have any protection that would fit you and you cannot play without protection. I don't need any stupid protection, again I'm not a baby. We all have to wear protection since without it is really dangerous. Getting hit with the pistols really hurt if you don't wear anything. Also the guns are way too big and heavy for you, you could not even shoot them properly. Before anybody could react, the little brat grabbed a pistol and started unloading on my friend. He hit him once in the face and several times on the body from about meters away, while my friend wore zero protection. I did the only thing I could and gave him a good shove, so he fell to the ground and took away the pistols from him. Why are you pushing my kid? Then he slapped me. What the F is wrong with you? Your little brat was shooting at me while I did not wear any protection. You know how dangerous that is. That was just an accident. You two wait here, I get grandma and see to it that you get your punishment you deserve. You little punk, you will never be invited again to our gatherings, and you will not be allowed to the other gatherings this year. As for the rest of you, you will tell grandma that you said it was just an accident, or I will see to it that you get punished for lying. You know how much she hates liars. About 5 minutes later, he returned with grandma. So I wanna know what happened here. ED told me you wanted LS to play with you, although you have no protective gear for him. So you shot CF 4 times, one time even in the face, and then put the pistol in his hand and told him to shoot CF as well to show him it is not so bad to get hit without protective gear. But he did not want to shoot CF, so you hit him and pushed him to the ground. I cannot believe you could act this way, you are such good boys usually. See, I already told her what you two jerks did. Don't try to come up with excuses, OG knows I would never lie to her. So admit you did this and the punishment will be less than if you do not admit it. That is not at all what happened, LS wanted to play. I said don't lie and admit what you did. Do you really think OG would believe your little punks over me? Shush, you had your chance to tell your side and nobody interrupted you, so don't you dare interrupt them one more time. So we told OG what actually happened, and the more we told, the more red her face got, which ED nicely compensated for by getting more and more white in the face. Once we were done, she looked at the other people and just asked, "Are the two boys telling the truth?" Nobody really dared say anything, but all were nodding their heads. I knew it, your little jerk was always troubled, while these two boys are really nice kids. What did I wrong raising you that you think this is acceptable behavior? Pack your stuff and take your little brat and go. Your wife and the other kids stay with the car. After all, they did nothing wrong, so why should they get punished? You can walk to the train station and get home via train. I knew something was fishy when you insisted I punish them without hearing their side. You are banned from my gatherings for the next 6 months. Oh, and LS brought his Super Nintendo in his computer, right? Yes, he did. You want me to leave them for the other kids to play? My wife can take them home when they are leaving. Those were birthday and Christmas presents and he no longer deserved them. They now belong to the two boys. That is the least they deserve after your little brat shot CF and after you hit that boy just for stopping your little brat getting CF hurt. The boy could have lost an eye. ED and LS both started talking at the same time. Those are mine. That is not fair, they belong. Slap, slap. First LS got a slap, then ED. Get out of my face, I give you 5 minutes to get your brat and leave. I tell your wife what happened. She deserved the truth and no other pathetic attempt at lying. And don't you dare say another word to anybody or I slap you into the next decade. We really did get the Super Nintendo and his computer. We decided I would get the Super Nintendo since he got hurt way worse and the computer was worth a lot more. It was an Amiga 500 with all the bells and whistles, like an extra 500 kilobytes of RAM, a ton of original games, 4 of the best joysticks, 2 external disk drives, and a ton of other hardware. Best birthday present ever, and it was not even my birthday. Damn, that was a long ass story. Shout out to the OG grandma for teaching his son a lesson though. Anyway, that's all boys, you know the drill. Drop a comment, like and subscribe, or do whatever the F you want if you enjoyed the story. Hopefully I won't have to do this ever again, although I kind of liked it. Bye now.